again, shaboom, and we'll meet again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's such a pleasure because I feel you've seen What About Bob?
Yeah, of course.
Well,
I'm not crazy.
I know you're not like Bob Wiley, but I keep thinking about that scene. Maybe because I saw it recently, how adamant he is that people have to get this book. So I keep thinking about him in terms of the baby steps. I'm like, you got to get Cecily's book. I'm holding it up right now because it's meant so much to me. It's so beautiful and funny and so honest. It's like odd now to see you because I feel like I know you so well. I'm sure people have been saying that a lot.
It's great because I'm sometimes awkward and I stumble over words. So it's like I'd rather someone read that and then I can meet them. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
so now you know me.
You
Now we
got
can
it.
talk.
Well, what was the impetus for writing it? Was it simply to get these feelings out, get these very raw emotions onto a page?
Yes, I mean that's what it was at first, for sure. And I think because I'm used to, like, my body is used to writing on a Tuesday, I guess, because of
Yeah,
SNL. And then
of
those
course.
2 weeks were just so bad. Um, those 2 weeks I was quarantined in my apartment. That's how it started, how I started
Hmm.
writing and did the essay that went to New York Magazine at first. And then I got some nice response and it felt like people had found things in themselves or it was useful to them. And then I that's kind of made me keep wanting to keep right then. No, because it was like worst case scenario, I do therapy.
Right, right. Which
I-
it's true. I guess which this must have been a form of. I mean,
yeah.
you articulate that much better than I just did a couple times in the book. You start speaking to whoever it is you're writing to as though they were an entity, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah. And I think like that was very helpful in a time of, such isolation. And as somebody who's like felt lonely, which I think a lot of us do, it's like I'm having an intimate conversation with somebody. I always think of the Regina Spektor song Aquarius, but she says, "Dear someone in the shadows." I
Yeah,
felt like it was
yeah,
a similar thing.
yeah, yeah. It
I'm
must
an
have. It
Aquarius, so
was.
I have to listen to that song
You only listen to
in order to
Aquarius
get into the
song.
club. Yeah.
The Age of Aquarius is well, yeah. It's written in diary form, but it really did have that feeling of a deeply personal memoir these diary entries that at times maybe we weren't even meant to be. I wasn't meant to be reading. It was very revealing, but also like you said about other people's response, I had the same one, which is I identified with so much of what you're talking about, and certainly you're grappling with grief and during this time in isolation. It was really important to me. I really connected in a way that was comforting. So thank you, and I can't wait for people to read it.
Well, thank you. That's kind of comforting. Felt like, well, that's how I can share him then.
And he strikes me the way you describe him so beautifully. He strikes me as somebody who would have certainly appreciated that and wanted that to be in the world, wanted that to be his legacy. And it's a great,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, it's a beautiful tribute to him and again, like and the text exchange. That's also what struck me was my grandmother died and she passed away, and I know you can't. That is a difficult word to
Yeah.
say.
It's like a weird, harsh word. Yeah.
There's something so definitive and kind of like it falls with like a thud.
It feels like I
That
say
word.
when it's like when you're angry, sad,
Yeah.
that's like when it's like they died, and it's like, and that's like, that happened to me. They died and that happened to me.
Y-
And like passed away feels more when you're in that place of I'm talking about it in a non-angry way, in a loving way.
Yes, and maybe even in a beginning way, in the way that that death could be. I'm hoping is just a beginning of something, and yeah, something I've been struggling
Well,
with is
I'm sorry also, before we went into that, I'm sorry about your grandmother.
oh
It's
oh
always tough.
yeah, it's interesting, Cecily, because she was 104, and
Wow.
yeah,
Good
it's
genes.
good genes. I hope I have another one who's still alive who's 104.
Wow.
I'm sure you're used to this, having lost a couple people actually very close to you. Is that do you find that you have these kind of pat answers, like for, when you're having small talk about grief, like when somebody says, you mention it as something that happened, and they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry about your grandmother," and I find myself saying, "Yes, but she was old, she was 104, and but it's almost for them. It's not for you. It doesn't feel like it hurts any less."
Right, right. Well, I do think,
Eh,
I think there are different losses, and there are some that are we as a society can sort of feel better about, and knowing that someone, if they lived a full, happy life
Yeah,
and full of
sure.
joy or love, at least. But I do think it's like, I'm always going to say sorry, because it's not like, I don't
Of
think it's
course.
ever like a piece of cake for anybody.
It's never a pleasant thing,
Still, and
hopefully.
just like all of us, the dealing with our own mortality, there's always that also. And so it's not easy, even in a very only selfish way. And not in the not bad selfish. I
Right.
just means, about us.
That's what impressed me, because that's something I've struggled with, and it sounds like you have, and I'm sure we will continue to struggle with mortality. But what really impressed me about Owen and the grace in which he passed away was how there was something very courageous about how he faced it without fear, which to me is like remarkable. I mean, what a testament to a person's
I mean,
character.
I still don't quite understand it. And, my editor early on was asking me about that. And I was like, well, I don't know. And I really
Yeah,
was just
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
explore that, because, yeah, the idea to me of living with that and not just being stuck frozen and
I
like,
know.
I have
I
so much
know.
health anxiety. I'm so afraid of it. And it was just
Me
like,
too.
he said, I'm going to beat it. And that was that.
Well, but also when he realized he couldn't, it was that moment of thinking where
Unbelievable.
he unbelievable, where he thought that, to me, is like, and you talk about him as though he were in terms of him being a superhero and heroic, which that is I think that's a true strength and characteristic of a heroic person. And you hear you hear about them in movies, and they're portrayed in books and stuff, but to actually know somebody who faced death that way is it's remarkable
Yeah, his
to me.
doctor, well, that story, that's what Lita brought up at his service, and that is when he was told, just giving the background,
Yeah,
when he
Lita,
was
his
told,
sister. I'm not telling you.
yes, who I
Sorry.
think of as my sister. We call each other the strong
Yeah.
sisters now. But when the doctor had to tell Owen, and he was alone, they weren't in there with him
Mm,
at that point, and she said, we can't shrink your tumor, and there's
mm.
really nothing left. And, I don't even know how you word that. So I'm not even going to
I
pretend I know
know.
how to word
I
that
know.
you'll have hours
I
before you
know.
slip into a coma and pass away. And she said to Lita, a lot of people try bargaining with you at that moment. It's
Yes.
really tough. And that makes me very sad. And Owen just
Oof.
said,
Yeah.
well, thank you for all you've done. And thank you for trying.
Yeah. That's
Ugh, crazy.
crazy. I mean, because again, like your writing is so honest, and it's so real that it was easy to put myself there, and Owens is as well. I mean, I love the way you include text conversations between you and Lita and Owen, and it's that, to me, is some of the funniest and most heartbreaking stuff, but it's funny. It's you're all such good writers, and that was a moment where I thought I could only hope, I can only aspire to have that kind of courage,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
that grace. I think about the end. I think about how will I accept the fate that's coming to all of us. Um, I think about it a lot, and to read about somebody who chose that path, who was so courageous, it's inspiring. It was really inspiring.
It's weird. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I find it's calming to me too, because I feel like I'm also somebody that, for whatever reason, throughout my life, there's been times where I'll like spin myself into this, anxiety
Oh,
attack about dying. And then,
yeah,
the only thing I can, like, the one thing years ago I said, it was like, well, all I can wish for myself is that I accept it in that moment, and that there's some kind of, that I'm not
yeah.
scared at the end.
I know. Bargaining is an interesting word. I imagine that's That's probably right now what I'm sure I know I
Right.
would do that.
Well, what if, how about can we just
What if,
try a
yeah.
surgery? How about we,
Oh,
you know,
yeah. I remember seeing that in Man on the Moon in the Andy Kaufman movie, and how okay, well, I'll go and do this, and I'll try this experimental thing. And did you have any reservations? Once you decided this was something that you wanted to put out into the world, and you compiled these writings, what were your reservations about sharing it? And also, Cecily, how weird is it now to be talking about something that was, with somebody who's a relative stranger? How weird is it to be talking about something that is so deeply
I'm
personal?
somebody that can have a 3-hour conversation that I'd be like, well, we're going to stay up
Yeah,
all night and
yeah.
we have to talk about this and hash this out. So that doesn't feel weird to me. I'm okay with sharing with somebody who's not, wants to share as well. My reservations, I mean, the ones that I feel like aren't tied to any kind of nasty, self-deprecating, negative, you know, thinking about what other people think of me, I would just wanted to make sure everybody was okay with me sharing it, because it's like I'm the one sharing it. It's not really, they're not doing it. And so, and everyone really was. And, Lita and Ed and Laura, I sent everything I wrote pretty much as I was writing it to every person that I mentioned.
Your grandfather, Cecil, struck me as such an interesting. A lot of your relatives. I love that they have these cheeky nicknames for each
He's
other.
Cecil. I will
Oh,
I'm
Cecil.
Cecily. I know
Oh, weird.
it's funny, and people will do that the opposite and they'll call me Cecily. Some people, because Cecil DeMille, I know. Who knows?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
people pronounce their names weird. That's how
Cecily Tyson. What other
she's
Cecilys?
Sicily.
Sicily. Oh boy.
We
Oh,
her I is where my E is, and my E is where her I is.
oh Lord. Cecily, Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Stupid. I'm so glad it is out in the world, and I'm glad you had the courage. I guess. I mean, it is courageous to. Some of this stuff is not. It's also not all flattering. Was that therapeutic? What did that feel like to describe this burgeoning relationship that was kind of stalling amidst
Well,
this
definitely.
pandemic?
And that was, early on, like there was a fear about writing about that, but it was kind
Mhm.
of like, even if it doesn't work out, it's like that
Yeah,
part of my story won't change. Then it didn't
yeah,
work
yeah,
out, but I am going through that at the moment. I
yeah.
know a lot of people that have, like I remember people coming to me and saying, I've done the same thing, writing these notes.
Mm.
And it's sort of, that little bit of magical realism. Like, well, let me just pretend things are great. And here's what I would say to you then if
Yes,
we were
yeah,
talking. And it's
yeah,
just like giving yourself that a little bit of delusion, but in a
yeah.
comforting way.
It is. It's. I mean, getting anything out, and I imagine being so thorough about your feelings and about what you're going through, and getting that out must have been. You must feel connected to strangers. You must feel very. What does it feel like? I've never done anything like this.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I think it's very nice, the connections that we have. And and I'm sort of, because of Owen, I feel like, and not calling things coincidences, I'm excited about those connections. And it means something to
Yeah,
me when people say they felt they related, they understood, and this mattered
yeah.
to them.
I bet.
Um, and then I think also, it is good to get it out there. And my dad and I had to talk about it recently, and he was kind of like, part of it makes me sad or something. And I was
Mm,
like, why?
mm.
And he said, because of like the early stuff. And I was telling him, but Dad, we are where we are
Mm.
now, which is like, what a happy thing. And it wouldn't,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
me, it matters more that we are where we are now because it wasn't always easy. And because
yeah,
it's honest. And so when I say
yeah.
I love
Sure.
you, it's like I say I love you with all of this history. And it's like it's just more honest. And I think it lets us celebrate more. Like the whole point is to, yes, obviously it's about the tough things, but then the point is to celebrate everything we get to celebrate.
Well, was your father, he was referring to, so, and again, you're very so honest about all this, the divorce, and the most poignant thing, way you described that was doing so through the lens of yard plants.
Mhm.
You describe your yard, and I grew up in the same way. I had a very similar, my parents were, they were great gardeners, and there was beautiful flowers everywhere. And just over the years, they're still together, but to see that change, that kind of landscaping change,
Yeah.
it really struck me. It was really beautiful. Now you say you're struggling keep basil plants alive. I'm wondering how your green thumb is.
It's not great, but I enjoy it so much. And
Me
I'm
too.
able to cook with some of the things. And I have calla lilies again. And every now and then, like some lily will pop up and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I planted that. It's like a kid with a science experiment still.
Well, you said it perfectly about the raspberries. I remember that feeling. I still get that feeling sometimes. I have blueberry bushes near where I live in Massachusetts, and yeah, there's a real thrill of just getting to pick them off the bush. And I think I like that idea, which you say so well in the book. You like the idea of eating the raspberries more than the actual
Right.
fruit. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. It's really
I have
well
a
said.
peach tree. For the people that lived here before me had a peach tree, which I didn't know was a thing that you could have in New York. But it's like a similar thing where I'm like taking a bite and it does, I don't know how to grow peaches. So, but I definitely am always like, I'll eat this hard peach
Yeah,
because it's here.
yeah.
I should.
Psychologically, it's like there's nothing like a ripe peach, but it's really, really,
Cardboard hard peach.
yes, yeah,
Still tastes pretty
tasteless, and
good.
yeah, there's a little moisture in there.
Mhm.
Well, it looks very green where you are, Cecily. Are you in? So that's New York?
Yeah, that's Hudson Valley.
Wow. You're still upstate.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh, great. Oh, okay. And also, again, not to labor how much I love the book, but I also loved just getting to relive my own experience in those first few weeks of the pandemic and through your own. And that is something that if you can't relate to the grief part, I would encourage anybody to start reading it just in the hopes that it might conjure some of your own feelings about those early days of the pandemic. And I realized how much I had buried and how much I wasn't addressing just by reading your book and recognizing similarities. So again, thank you.
I think that's like one of my also favorite things to hear because I worry that like I see how much everybody's like, well, we're moving on now, we're back open, everything's fine. And it's sort of, I don't know that we've really taken much time to like, are we fine? We just went through something insane that I think is going to have ramifications. And I wish people would check in with themselves. And it's meant so much anytime there's been moments where people have said to me, like, I'm hearing that, I read that, and I don't think I've been grieving this. And it's like, I hope that people get a moment with themselves to think about it.
I didn't know that you were as a kid you were obsessed with SNL, but specifically with Phil Hartman. I find that
Love
really
Phil
interesting.
Hartman. Love Phil
It
Hartman.
makes sense, Cecily, because you both have a real connection to the truth. Your writing is this way, but like I always felt that way about your characters. Certainly the ones on Weekend Update, they felt so, and I'm sure a lot of people agree that they felt so they felt so real. They felt like the way people talk, and not even dialed up that much. And
Yeah.
that's what Hartman's felt like to me.
Yes, there's something about, and I think he is similar. Um, you're making me think about it, like just somebody that's like, he's this straight white man with confidence who's just like, sometimes doesn't know like something can be happening in the background. And he's like, everything is great here. So, and it's just
Yes,
that like
I
assuredness. It
know.
makes me laugh so much. I think like
Me
Beck
too.
Beck Bennett always makes me laugh because he has a similar
Oh,
like
he's got that.
that like commanding the room, and it's like,
Totally, totally.
so confident but wrong.
Yes, that's the best. Everything's under control. Even like Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer was like that. Like, well, ladies and gentlemen, like
Yeah.
he's kind of blind to the absurdity of it.
Right.
How specific are those characters? Because your characters, they feel so specific. The person you don't want to meet at a party, the girl that you got stuck with at a party. Is that just an amalgamation of people that you've met?
Yes, and I think it started by making fun of myself, but then also thinking about my straight male friends' stories where they had like started talking to some girl, being like, "She's cute," and then like, "Oh wow, I can't believe what she just said, and I can't get out of this."
I have no experience with that, Cecily. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's funny. Someone asked me like, well, what about, aren't there men like that? I was like, well, usually if a man approaches you, it's like, right away. I was like, I didn't approach him. I'm not.
Right.
How do I
The
get out
onus
of
is
this?
not
Right.
right. It's on him.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
think like she's certainly more real and specific. And I remember there was someone else on Facebook or something. It really is like that. I wrote in 2012 at first, which is like Facebook was the big social media. And somebody had written around the election, like after Obama won, like, wow, you all seem so happy. And that makes me so sad. Or something like that. It was like, what a thing to say. Oh, I guess you're smarter than the rest of us then if you're sad. If you're the guy like in the corner while everyone's dancing, you must be smarter than everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a pride in that. There's what a weird thing to be proud of and to lord over people.
Right. And just I think that is so like someone that checks their phone when they're talking to you. You like
Well,
it's and the
right.
reason she gets everything wrong is because she's not actually, it's just the only reason she's using any kind of zeitgeisty thing or issue is to just shame the other person
Yes,
or to say you're
totally.
dumb and I'm smart and now
Yes.
my friend's over there and
Yeah, it's all self-serving. But I feel like Cecily, she is also such a product. That's why that character is there's something iconic about it because and so of its time because it's she's such a product of social media. You know, like people play that out on social media, but then to have a conversation with somebody who's so used to like either ranting or posting and running away, you know, like that type of communication was all like outrage based.
Yes.
Is so perfect.
There's a lot of it. And I think even so, and then Kathy Ann, I think is the other one. I would say like, probably other characters are bigger and more about getting to be a clown and have fun. But certainly Kathy Ann too was like, I just wanted to have someone who's like, this person is not preaching to you. I just want to be like, it's everything that's being called politics lately is like, that's not politics. That's just like basic human decency. And it was that shouldn't, let's not even argue about that point. Let's have a crack addict tell you that's what that is.
That's really perfect. Yeah.
Hello again, shaboom, and we'll meet again.
I didn't know this, that you in high school you were expelled. You got expelled for bringing weed.
Yeah.
How much weed did you have?
It was an eighth. I think it's like and like when did I last say an eighth? It was like I haven't said an eighth since 2002.
Since I said a dime bag.
Right. Just like the worst, shittiest as swag weed.
Swag.
Right. And I didn't even have anything to smoke it in, but it was the first bag I'd ever bought. And they found, and we had a new superintendent who was very like zero policy. So I had two other friends get expelled during that time. But of course it was like problematic to me that at the same time, you know, athletes would not get expelled.
Right,
where it was sort of like, you're important to us and you're not.
How long, Cecily, did you get expelled for?
Well, it wound up being only for that semester because then I was welcome to come back my junior year. But by that point, I felt really bad there. And then I missed too many credits, gym credits. So I was going to have to be a fifth year senior because of gym.
Oh my God.
Consumer education. And it was sort of like, I can do summer school for anything, but like not gym. I can barely do gym.
Oh my God. So what happened? Wait, so did you?
So and then
how'd you graduate?
I dropped out my junior year. I was also like struggling with depression at that time.
Yeah.
So I missed like a year at least or about a year of school, probably total.
Wow.
And then, but I went to art school my senior year and I did correspondence courses and they don't have gym requirements at art school or consumer ed. So I was able to get the credits I needed and I graduated on time.
Was performing something that you aspired to then? Was that something that was on the horizon for you? Or?
Oh yeah. I mean, I took my first drama class when I was 3 at my preschool or something. Yeah. And I did a lot of community theater growing up. So it was, what's a drama class? It was with 3-year-olds?
Yeah, what's a drama class? Yeah.
I don't even know. There were only 3 of us in the class. And I think we were supposed to do like, and this is like one of those stories that it's like a memory, but it's not really, it's what's been told to me because I was 3. But we were supposed to do the Frog Prince, I think, but I didn't like the little boy in the class. And he was supposed to kiss me, and I
You
was
didn't have
like,
chemistry.
we're not doing it. And so we did the Elves and the Shoemaker.
Oh, he must have been very disappointed.
Yeah, it probably wasn't very nice of me. Yeah.
Sorry if he's listening. And were impressions something that were a part of your repertoire then? Even were you doing impressions of like family members and stuff?
It was, but like I didn't think I was an impressionist, especially when you see like really
It's
great
funny, yeah.
impressionists on SNL and around. But I mean, like as a little kid, I loved doing impressions, but my impressions were all like the big ones I can remember. I like doing the guy with the shrunken head in the waiting room from Beetlejuice. Who
Yeah.
just turns to look at him. Not even the one he steals from with the hair. I liked the little
Yes.
bald guy. It just went like that. And then I also like to do the
Funny.
alien that pops out of his stomach in Spaceballs and then goes, "Hello, honey."
Oh,
Those were my
yes.
impressions.
That's funny. Yeah, those are great. But it's funny. You said something I talked to Bobby Moynihan on this show, but he said something similar, and I, which surprised me that he sort of downplayed his ability to do impressions. And I think of both of you guys as very talented impressionists. But I guess when you're comparing yourself to like the best of the best,
Right.
it must
And
be,
hair and
yeah.
makeup helps out with that a lot, and wardrobe. But
Yeah.
it's yeah, I think as we were both just like, and also it's kind of what you're drawn to. Sometimes when I see a great impression, I'm like, huh, that's really spot on. As if it doesn't
Right.
necessarily make me laugh, as like the alien from Spaceballs makes me laugh.
Right. Well, right. That's the thing about some of those. I mean, the cast that I grew up with was, like Mike Meyer, the Dana Carvey cast, and I said this to Bobby too. His impressions remind me a lot of Dana Carvey's.
Yeah.
In that he captures an essence of a real essence.
Right.
They're not maybe like Daryl Hammond specific, but there is a specificity that is like really like capturing the.
And I think Dana Carvey too just like found something funny that
Yeah.
we wouldn't have seen otherwise.
And he amplified it. He just highlighted it.
Yeah.
Totally. Who are you very confident doing? I mean, who would you say, like, who would you audition with if you had to audition now for SNL?
The only one I really felt like, oh, this is an obvious easy one was that lady from Michigan who
Oh,
the
yeah.
witness
The
with
governor.
Giuliani. Otherwise,
Oh.
I mean, I don't necessarily, I guess like Susan Collins, I was sort of good. And then I will say the first time I ever felt like I can do an impression was Sarah Koenig, because I had listened to Serial
right.
so much, and it was like, that's so in my head. And I got to meet her and she was very like, didn't know if we were making fun of her or not. I had to like tell her over and over, like, no, we love you. You're in my head. I wouldn't listen to it if I thought you were a joke.
How does she express that to you? How does somebody like Sarah Koenig
Well,
express that insecurity?
She was kind of not just sort of, I recognize it because of when I have it in myself, just feeling a little self-conscious and
Yes.
not sure. So then I feel like I had to, I probably went overboard to tell her how much it probably looked like I was trying to take her home or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever had have you ever done anybody to them on the show? Have you ever had that moment?
Stormy Daniels was on the show, but I didn't play her.
Oh, okay.
I think I played Melania that episode, but
oh, funny. That's
right. Stormy Daniels is as close as I've gotten.
What do people come after you for doing any sort of politicized thing? No,
not really. I mean, even the one time I met Melania, she seemed to be okay with it. And I think even like no matter who I'm playing, it's still like we're trying to do. I'm not would not want to feel like I made somebody feel terrible about themselves.
Yeah.
About something like that they look about their looks or something. So I think it's like, I don't want to hit below the belt. And I think there's always something when I'm doing even if it's like someone I may not love as a human being, there's something that I love that they do.
It was interesting to read about your brother in the book and your experience growing up, and that he just seemed like he had such a hard time. Obviously, he's doing great now. He's found love, which was so nice to hear. He seems like a really good person, but that he was so bullied as a kid. Do you think that informed your own sense of humor and your own comedic drive?
Oh, you know what? That probably has something to do with it. But I think also just like there are, the things that like stick in your head. I definitely, when you think about any time you maybe hurt somebody, especially like as kids when you don't realize it, like, and you've made, like I
Uh,
can think of
uh,
the kids that I wasn't nice to or something, even if it was
yeah,
just one moment and it's like, ugh,
yeah,
it could keep
totally.
me up at night,
I
just
know.
doesn't feel good to hurt someone.
It's
Maybe
there's
like
a
for a
great
split second when you're in a fight with them, but it doesn't otherwise. It's like not
I
a good feeling.
I know. Even when I do it on the road, if you get a moment of like anger, it never feels it's never settling. It never settles into something other than like a distaste.
Yeah.
There's Cecily. There's a great George Saunders essay that I think it was commencement speech for maybe Rutgers or something. I forget the school. It might have been Rutgers, but it's about that. It's all about his the regrets that he has, the moments of inaction that he
Mm.
regrets in terms of standing up for kids, or when he was tacitly participating in any kind of like making fun of like lessening of
Yeah.
somebody's um, agency. It's really beautiful. I'd encourage anyone to read it, but it reminds me of what we're talking about. Yeah, I have the same.
I definitely
Uh,
even like, and I think something I am proud of too. It's like of all the things, like when I can think about all the things I'm not good at. And it's like,
uh-huh.
I could fill 3 books. And then it's like,
I can't wait.
here's everything I'm not good at. I was pretty good, I think, at sticking up for people too. Just like as a natural,
Yeah,
like, why aren't we all? Doesn't this make the most sense? And I remember
yeah.
I won one of my only awards in life was a happiness club award
Aw.
for
I like the way you said that.
well, because I remember the whole time being like, I don't know what this is, and I don't quite know what it's for. And it was my favorite teacher, Mrs. Smitherman in 6th grade, gave it to me, and she was nervous when she gave a speech, and she called me Stephanie the whole time. And then I found out it was like because I hung out with like kids with developmental disabilities at lunchtime or something. And I was like, I get an award for that?
Uh,
I thought I did something cool, or thought I like, got
yeah.
wrote a great essay.
Yeah, well, it is cool. I mean, looking back, you can probably see how cool that is. Like at the time, it
Right.
was
But it was
probably just
just like at the right. It was like,
yeah.
oh, I'm going to go talk to these kids today.
What was this correspondence dinner like? I've that to me seems like it potentially the scariest room imaginable. Was there anybody that was so intimidating to make fun of that was even tough to get through, or was it just like once you were up there, you just kind of like start flying?
It's probably different because I'm not a stand up. So I didn't feel like I had pressure to be a stand up. And everything that I was saying made me laugh a lot. And I think it was like, I didn't look at it as like, this is a way to further my career or anything. It was like, this is a chance to do this with Obama as president. And I just thought the world of Barack Obama and still do. And was like, big, I had I had a little Barack Obama sticker on my purse when he was running for Senate. And I remember I
Oh
ran in
yeah.
California. I was like, what does that mean? And I had to be like, well, that's Barack Obama. And then like to sit next to
You're
Michelle
gonna hear
Obama.
about him.
Right. So then
Yeah.
it was like, I have to
Oh
say
yeah.
yes to this because it's Obama. And actually
Totally.
they asked me in such a weird way. My dad texted me and he said, my friend from the Tribune asked if you wanted to do the correspondence dinner. And I thought he meant himself. And I was like, cool, Dad, you should
Uh-huh.
do it like at a dinner or like go or something. He went, no, they want you to host it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that can't
Oh,
be real.
weird.
It couldn't have come through my dad, but somehow it was. And it was like,
That's so
I
funny.
was in a really low place because I'd been dumped earlier and it was like heartbroken. I like had to go to California for the summer and like live on the top of a hill. And I was just at a very low place. And they asked me and it was sort of like, I have to say yes, because if I don't want to
Uh-huh.
say no to something while I'm feeling like this about myself. And, it was something that had scared me. And so it was like, at
Yeah.
least it was distracting and kind of lifted me up a bit.
in a weird way, it's probably a good time to do something like that. It's a good, it's probably a good atmosphere to do that in.
Yes. And it was, I mean, the other thing, I guess, was like I was asked in August and it wasn't until April. So it was,
Oh, yeah.
oh, sure, I'll do it. I'll figure it out by then. Future me has it.
Yeah, future me can
right
do
now
anything.
doesn't think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I do that all the time. What is your family's relationship with your fame and with SNL? I mean, I know you talk about it in the book a little bit, and certainly Owen and Lita were so supportive. They were always at the shows, and I love how you describe that and their support. But do you have any family members or any people in your life that got kind of weird with it, or had a strange relationship with it?
No, I don't think I do. I think my parents, it's fun every now and then I'll check their Facebook or something. And it's like, that's where I can see all the things they may not say to me all the time.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, you're proud of me. You like it.
I see you.
Busted.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Yeah.
Busted. Yeah, totally. Oh, that's cute. That's sweet. What do they think of Schmigadoon? It just premiered on Apple TV. I got to see it. I can't wait.
They love it. I think, I made them both watch it in one sitting with me. So I think my mom is fun. Like it took her, I think she's enjoyed it more not sitting next to me. And it's the first thing we do when we see each other. So now she's like, then she'll text me about it. Like, I loved that, whatever. And
funny.
And actually my grandmother, who is 90, late 90s, she's my one living relative, and she's my mom's stepmom. So not good genes in my family. But
not until
she loved
now.
it. And she was like, her daughter showed it. She said, well, I don't have the Apple station, but if I can buy this in any way, because I'd love to support or something. It was really cute.
What were you watching as a kid? What were your what did you grow up really being inspired by besides SNL?
Well, I watched a lot of musicals, obviously, on VHS. That's what we'd rent. And my parents loved comedies. So we had SNL commercials. My mom had the Gilda special. My dad would show us like Marx Brothers and Monty Python.
Oh, us too. We
loved
the
it.
Marx
And my
Brothers.
brother and I would watch, we watched a lot of comedy in like The State, Upright Citizens Brigade. I loved Strangers with Candy. I guess I was a little older then. And then I'm trying to think if there's I also loved talk shows and dating shows. Like it was, before reality TV, I was already a reality TV nut.
The best, yeah.
Like I gotta get home and put on Maury.
Oh my God. Well, they were such great characters. They were the best characters.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Who are your, I still feel that way about reality shows, but like now it strikes me, there's something even more interesting in a way that the Bachelors and the Bachelorettes, they all are vying to be famous to some degree. And so they're all like performing.
Right. It's less interesting to me because of that.
Yeah, because of that. It's like bad improv.
Well, you just know it's like this is like just an extension of Instagram to you, to be like a brand whatever person. I want to see somebody who's off their rocker invested in this.
It still happens, but it's rare. You're right. It's rare.
Yeah.
It's
I will
rare.
say it's like every now and then I'll watch Bachelor, and I do love the first part. I mean, I think that's like that competition and that fear of being sent home is like, you can't fake that. That's very real. And that's fun to me. But the rest of it, I don't care about. But then I think like there are certainly shows where it's real and it's there. 90 Day Fiancé.
90 Day Fiancé. Oh, Colt and Larissa.
Oh my God.
That's my brother.
Insane. One of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
The more consumed
because you're lazy and you're fat, Colty. Okay.
That's your opinion, Larissa. that's my well, that's just
she
like
say,
your
whoever
opinion.
goes against the queen will die.
Colty.
Wasn't that one?
Will die.
Colty, yeah.
Colty Biggie, you're big. I remember she got a car. She wanted a car, and she was like, I wanted this car that's a biggie and blacky.
Yes, I follow her on Instagram now.
Oh, really? Amazing.
I love it.
My brother got me for my birthday, you know that Cameo app? You can he got me one from, I don't know if you saw the season with Zied.
Of course.
Like, yes. Yeah.
Oh,
got me, Zied.
baby, I want to kiss you, sexy baby. Oh, Zied.
Yes, yes. I loved when he
I
would
have
answer her
purple
questions.
pants. What do you say? A red pants? He's been on a
Oh, he's
lot. Yeah.
yeah. He sent. So I gotta send it to you. He sent me one. He sent me a cameo. It was very sweet.
Wow.
Yes, happy birthday to Justin. Yeah, it's amazing.
Now, did he do it like
But
up close? Was it as sexy
yes,
as
it
those
was in the
early videos that Rebecca loved?
It was in oh my God, those were crazy. But then she was sending him ones with the crazy filter.
Uh-huh.
Remember
Of
that?
course. There's
Yeah.
just so
But
many good ones. And Angela and Michael, obviously.
oh my God. And the one from the Pacific Northwest, who was that? Michael and who the Ukrainian
Yes,
woman.
who has like this jaw like
Yes,
this.
yes, we
Yes.
didn't. And boy, Uncle Bo, I love
Uncle
Bo. I
Bo.
like
Oh
Bo.
my God. I was so happy to see Uncle Bo survived COVID.
Yes,
I
that's
know that's like a dark thing to say,
miraculous.
but I mean
No,
it.
I know, I know. I love when she says to because I was just in Bulgaria and I noticed this about a lot of Bulgarians, how honest they are and how honest she was with Bo and she's I don't know if you remember that she was saying goodbye to him and he's like, okay. And he's like, well, maybe I'll see you
I'll be
again. And she
down
goes,
the end of the
yeah,
driveway.
yeah. And she goes, no, I will not. I will never see you. No. There was just something so like, yeah, you're not gonna see each other. Oh God,
They're
the
so
best.
good. And the Latin women, I can't believe those men. It's just like, I can't believe they are in these relationships where I'm like, you are so emasculated. I'm feeling awkward watching this. Also, what is her name from Michigan
Oh, who goes to
who
Belize?
likes, yes, and has
Yeah.
Ryan and then his
Yeah.
cousin.
Well, because now
Because
Ryan.
then Ryan doesn't wear a robber.
Yes,
So
that's really,
Ryan told me he's wearing a robber and he
yeah,
wasn't.
that's really good.
Oh, these are expensive undies,
That's
Ryan.
and then
And then he leaves and then she goes with the cousin.
well he what the hell is his
It's
name?
like, yeah, Harris.
Harrison. Oh, Harrison is actually a much better
I
lover
should have
than
had
Ryan.
him. Yeah, I couldn't believe I
Yeah.
got you nice watches and robbers.
Yes,
Like that's how I want to travel from now on. I want to bring someone underwear, undies, watches, and rubbers,
that's right.
and
That's right.
$1,000 for snacks.
And there's so
100. She gave him $100 for snacks.
That's right. That's right. And then got mad
I-
and then would use that, then would weaponize that, throw it back in his
Right.
face. So I gave you, and then was giving his family so much money. I mean, like, it was dark, but like it's sometimes that's a perfect example of I never know
Right.
who's darker in that situation.
And a lot
you know,
of them, I just think it's like, I think they are like, I root for them. And it's like people that maybe that want love and they want a relationship and it's been hard. And there's just something about like someone who comes from somewhere else that appeals to them. And so it's like
aspirational.
It's not just all like fake and shitty. There's something very sweet too. And you root for them.
Yeah. And, or it's like Harrison. Now I'm remembering Harrison was just like, I want to go to America. Like he was like pretty honest. He was
Yeah.
like, and she was like, Harrison, do you think you're ready to come with me to Michigan? Stephanie, that was her name. Stephanie.
Stephanie, that's what I want. And she's so Michigan. She's so Stephanie.
Yeah.
I can hula hoop. Here's Ryan loved. Yeah.
That's right. Something happened with her company recently where she's getting sued.
Wait,
I
her
think, for making
company?
false. Yeah, she has that like cosmetic
Her
thing.
aesthetic, yeah.
Yeah, and they were making false claims about it being able to prevent COVID, I think.
Wow, of course.
Something about it. Yeah. It's very Stephanie. It's on brand.
Yeah.
Oh, but Harrison's been so supportive. What sorry, Seth,
Well, I know,
we're
I
out of time.
appreciate that. I needed that. That's good. I love talking
it's the
90
best.
Day.
It's that Michigan accent's so good. I guess you grew up near Michigan, but
Oh
was
yeah, I
that-
mean, I'm very near Michigan, like an hour
yeah.
drive or something. And everybody who had any money or what I considered money growing up had a house in Michigan.
Oh yeah, yeah, and cars. They would say their cars. They had nice cars.
Nice cars. And Wisconsin was over there too, Lake Geneva. Oh yeah. Well,
Oh
sure.
yeah. What is Is that so you grew up doing that? You grew up knowing how to do, you just had an ear for those
Well, I
ad
think it
scenes.
was like that's how everybody, even like Chicago, it's sort of similar.
Yeah,
I mean, we
yeah.
like may go a bit harder, like
You naturally have a
that
slight,
lateral. Yes, I naturally
yes,
have the most beautiful accent in the world, the
yes,
most beautiful vowel sounds, mom and dad.
Dad, yes. I have a little bit. Connecticut weirdly has a flat A
Yes,
as well.
there's a weird thing like Buffalo. Every
Yeah, oh
now and then
yeah.
I'll hear Buffalo, and I think it's some in Chicago.
Yes, me too. I do that. I like, it's probably a way to show off, but and oftentimes I'm right. I'm pretty good at like pinpointing, like at least approximating where somebody's from. And it's fun. I guess it's something that I like just get off on a little bit, where they're like, "How'd you know that?" But I did it yesterday, for example, and on set, and I said, "I didn't know you were from Canada." I did it really confidently because somebody had said sorry. He was. So I said, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to." I said, "I didn't know you were from Canada," and he said, "I'm not. Why would you just why would you just say that?"
Life could be a dream, sweetheart. Do 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 shaboom. Hello, hello again, shaboom, and we'll meet again.
Cecily, what is your most commonly used emoji, would you say?
Ooh, that's a good one. Let's see. Well, I guess the heart, and then
Yeah.
I like I like the dancing lady.
Oh yeah, people like that one. Yeah.
I like the clown. I like the cowboy.
Uh-huh. What context? In what context do you use the cowboy?
I guess sometimes if I use like cowboy and clown together, like when
Uh-huh.
I'm like know that I'm saying something kind of goofy.
Uh-huh. That's funny.
Yeah,
Like a
and the
rodeo
guy with the
clown.
sunglasses. It's like
Oh.
that's when I'm proud of what I said. Sunglass guy,
Oh, really?
clown, cowboy.
Oh, that's funny. I've been doing a lot of this one, the gritted
This
teeth, like,
guy I do a
ooh.
lot. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
That means
Um,
that is a very much an emotion for me. Like, uh-huh.
totally.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited about that.
Yes, or I'll say it like if I say something on Instagram that I'm like, that might be taken the wrong way. Just know that I also know it's a little like iffy.
Yeah.
Like either it's unfunny or whatever. Like, if you could be a professional athlete, what sport would you play?
Oh, soccer, hands down.
Soccer, yeah, yeah. That's so cool that you know those ladies, Megan Rapinoe, and they sound really amazing. I didn't know Megan Rapinoe was the first one to kneel
Yeah.
at the anthem. That's really cool.
They're just, yeah, they really are diverse in a lot of ways. And that is such like I hate saying that word, especially, well, I don't hate saying the word. I hate saying the word around certain people. And that it's like, but I do think they are in the best way that it's like, there's just, they come from everywhere and they represent everyone and they really
Yeah,
stand for it. And then they're really, really good.
they're really good, right?
And
Yeah,
it's just fun to watch people good at what they do in
I
any
know,
sport, really.
I
Even if I'm
know.
like, I don't get this sport, but wow, that guy's really good at curling.
I know. It's so funny. Every 4 years, it's like I get so into these sports and then for the next four, I kind of forget about. But there's just, you're right. There's something about seeing somebody at that peak physical form,
Yeah.
doing something that you could technically do. I mean, we could all technically do those things. Uh,
I don't know
I
that I could even technically do any of it
well, like a version of
without
it.
hurting myself horribly. Yeah.
Yeah. If you could have one snack food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Your go-to snack food?
It would either be like crackers and I make this goat cheese and garlic and oil. Cheese. I should just say
Cheese.
cheese. Cheese.
Yeah, yeah, cheese. Got some great cheese shop. Yeah, New York. I'm now missing New York for. I hate the smell of really like strong cheese, like pungent
Oof,
cheese.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like going to Paris, it's like, well, I'm going to go stop in the fart shop for a second.
Yes, that's it. How do people not? People are always so incredulous with me when I tell them that I don't like those. It's like, but you smelled farts, and everyone
Right.
smelled farts, and like you know that it's at least like, as you might say, adjacent to a fart.
Yeah,
to
it's
a
certainly fart adjacent.
Yes, yes, yeah. What is your? This is a very personal question. I don't mean to just throw it at you, but do you want to have kids? Are kids? Do you think in your future?
I don't know. I mean, it's like biologically, it's getting to be that's like the decision's being made for me. But I still am like, there was like a year when I got my dog, and I'm like, I love my dog so much, and she's
Yeah.
a rescue dog, and so I'm not afraid of adoption as something, but
Yeah.
I'm just not there yet.
Yeah. No. Okay. I was asking weirdly because I'm always curious what movie people would be most excited to introduce to their kids. Like, what's
Oh
the movie
yeah.
that was so special to you growing up that you're like, oh God, it'd be nice to have a kid one day and show them this.
That's a great thought. I don't have that in my head right at this moment, but that's something that's like fun to think
Yes.
about and
I know.
sweet.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Yeah. Yeah. Curious. What is your go-to? Oh, you talk about karaoke, singing karaoke. What is your go-to song? What is your like showstopper?
I think I normally can rely on Dreams by the Cranberries
Oh, the
and
best.
something by Patsy Cline.
Oh, great. Yeah. Oh, I love that song. I fucking love that song. I remember it was in the trailer for Boys on the Side. Remember that trailer?
Oh yeah. I
Ah, it
don't
was
remember
such
the
a
trailer. I didn't remember the movie till you said it right now.
Oh man. I love that song. I fucking love it.
It's such a great song.
It's so
It's
yeah.
genuinely like a perfect song.
It is.
It
And isn't
makes
it?
you feel so much. Immediately you hear the
Yes.
beginning. Like it's just a perfect song.
I'm feeling it now. I'm hearing it
Mhm.
now, and it really
Like I'm
fills you
getting
up.
goosebumps. Yeah.
Yes, this is the best part of this podcast. I remember you said, yeah, again, another great part of the book when you talk about being able to laugh for the first time and like enjoy a moment for the first time in a while, and like, and you guys dancing around the upstate house, and you put on the perfect song. I love how you describe putting on the perfect song, that Lou Reed song.
Yeah.
And the like, and knowing that it's bringing joy to people. That there is truly, I've lately had that thought. Oh God, it feels good to put on the perfect song for a group
Oh
of people.
yeah.
I love that. Who was your first celebrity crush?
I had like two when I had a bulletin board up, and then like other girls I knew had pictures on it. So I was like, well, I'll put two pictures on the bulletin board. And my two pictures were Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Renfro.
Brad was really, yeah. What a sad situation.
Awful. Yeah.
Awful. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I'm the one who says it, but I'm still like,
No.
but I think it's like nice to, he was
Yeah.
my crush. I thought he was
Yeah.
like such a good actor and like a cool bad boy kind
He
of.
was a bad boy. Yeah. I lately I've been saying, I like to say I'm the bad boy of such and such. So like my brother was getting like he's gonna love me telling you this. His fiance was putting a mask on him last night, like a facial mask.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, you're like the bad boy of facial masks." Like using the bad boy of something. If you had to get a tattoo, what would you get?
I
and
just
where?
shouldn't. I mean, I guess I could get, at this point it would be like a bird or something to
Oh, for
obviously,
Owen.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I used to want like, I wish I could get a tattoo. If tattoos lasted for a year, I would
Uh-huh.
do full body tattoos.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
What would you get in for the next year, the next coming year?
I mean, anything I found funny at the moment. I was like, every now and then I'll see someone who's got like a full chest tattoo, and I just think it's so pretty. And I'm like, I wish I could do that for a year.
I know. Yeah, me too. It's yeah. Maybe there is that the technology. Or you can develop it.
I'm going to spend the rest of my life developing that.
Yeah, temporary tattoos. What is your favorite fruit, would you say?
Favorite fruit? Strawberries.
Yeah, perfect.
Easy.
Strawberries. Okay. Who do you want to play you in your biopic?
Me. I don't know.
Yeah, you should. Strawberries are also pretty easy to grow. Strawberries
I'm starting to grow them, but I think they're not like, are they super easy? I thought you have to like, anything that takes an extra step is kind of, I go like, I don't know anymore if I'm going to grow these. I think you have to like thin them out, right? And it's like a next year crop.
It is. Well, mine are growing from last season, but I say that only because, Cecily, I love gardening, but if I can do it, truly, I'm not being self-effacing.
No, I
like,
believe
if I can
you.
do it, anybody can do it. Yeah.
Did you move your strawberries, or you just like,
No.
started to grow them last year and now they're growing back and you have strawberries?
They're growing back.
Okay.
They're great. And then like I have wild strawberries up in Massachusetts, and but they're the little kind of like they're different. They're not like obviously like big juicy ones. They're kind of like little.
I know, yeah,
whatever.
but good.
Yeah, Yeah,
They're all
good. Oh,
good.
delicious. And again, like you say, like you described, the feeling of just picking anything
Yes, and it's
that you
fresh.
grew.
Like you
Yes.
don't realize how much a difference that makes.
Oh, I know. I know. Who was your favorite Muppet growing up?
Probably Miss Piggy
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Did you do those voices at all? I don't know why I'm so hung up on your voices. I think you do great impressions.
Well,
I'm sorry that I keep.
I feel like I don't know them well enough, but I feel like there was a moment there was one day we were all kind of joking with Melissa Villaseñor, and she was like,
oh,
it was like
brilliant.
Melissa meeting Kermit. And I was like, hey, Melissa. Oh, hey, Kermit. And sort of just.
That's good. That's good. That's really funny. She does have a little of that in her voice.
And then I feel like my dog is a little like Miss Piggy. I can't do it great, but it's just like, hey,
Yeah.
Yeah. My dog hits a lot, and her affection involves like hitting you.
Oh, that's cute. Well, what kind of dog is it? The rescue, but what do you know? What kind roughly?
She's like part rat, part pig. I think
Uh-huh.
she's definitely a spaniel mix, and I know she has Havanese in her from the 2 DNA tests that I gave her. I give myself 3, my dog 2, my parents 1. Yeah, I've got identity issues.
Yeah, it's got to say something. I don't want to dig too deep, but what is your go-to pizza topping?
Cheese and garlic and more cheese.
Oh yeah, great. You would love a place here called Pepe's. Pepe's in Connecticut. Have you been there?
No.
Pepe's is in there. There are a couple now. There's one in New. It's the original's in New Haven, but they have a great summer pie. If you're in Connecticut ever.
I mean, the thing is, like, I don't know that I've met a pizza I don't like it.
Yeah. I hear you. Dogs or cats?
Dogs, easy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Easy. Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
I'm going to say Beatles. I have a big Beatles family, and I just the other night had like a fun Beatles night.
That Hulu. Oh, if you could, right now you're at a bar. What are the first few songs? Like what would you put on if you were there with Letty and Owen and your friends? What would you want to hear?
Sure. I think I would. I always love like Let It Be, that album.
Yes.
But I also like Come Together. I listen to a lot of John Lennon alone too. I love Yoko.
Me too.
But Beatles, I mean, anything White Album, and I love the full Let It Be.
Yes, the full album. I was just talking about the White Album. How disparate the songs. How varied those
Dear
songs
Prudence. I'm going to say, like today, what I would love is Dear Prudence. Whenever there's like a storm, I remember like being in Chicago, and if there was like a big thunderstorm, just putting on Dear Prudence felt like, oh, this is so cinematic.
Oh, totally. Once you come out to play. Yeah. you know, Cecily, that's about, I think it's about when they were in India. Do you know what they wrote that song because of Mia Farrow and her sister, her younger sister, who apparently was even more charming than she was. Prudence wouldn't come out of her room. She was just like meditating the whole time. She was there to meditate with the Maharaji, and like all the rock stars, Donovan, all the Beatles, whoever was there was like, they all wanted to, her to come
out. Please. Yeah. Stop meditating for a second, Prudence.
I heard another one you'd like about Sexy Sadie, which is
my God. Yes. Thank you for bringing that. And actually, I have a connection with that one because my very good friend Shane, who I was close with in high school and I'm still close with, but when I was dropping out and really depressed, he made me a great mixtape, and it had Sexy Sadie on it. And I just remember listening to it over and over. Me
too. Yeah. Falling in love with that song and feeling kind of like it was dangerous and sexy, obviously. And I had so many, it's such a great association with it. And so maybe this isn't good to hear, like, where do songs come from? But I just learned, a friend of mine told me that, because they're reading a book about the Beatles, that it was Lennon's like disillusionment with the Maharaji, in India, because he saw that the Maharaji, he had held him up to be this like, pillar of spirituality, and in fact the Maharaji just wanted to like fuck. And like, he just wanted to get his groove on it.
A lot of religions end up being like that.
People for power and for like girls and stuff, and so the original lyric was Maharaji.
Wow.
What have you done? So if you listen to that song now in that context, it's really interesting. You made a fool of everyone. You You made it was actually like a negative thing. And
That's really cool. I think about, I really love Across the Universe, but I love Fiona Apple's version. And I think like I read somewhere like John Lennon was never happy with any of the recordings, but they put that one on the album anyway. And I like to think that John Lennon would have been like, that's it with Fiona Apple's version.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder that about covers. I asked, on the show, I asked Sarah Bareilles about that, about doing a cover of somebody. She does a great Yellow Brick Road. If you ever see Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
I love Sarah Bareilles too. I mean, talk
Cecily,
about
this will melt your heart, this version of it. But she described that it being like, but she also was like very confident in the song. But when she played it for Elton John.
Yeah.
And she was like, he was nice about it. I was like, I think he was, because it made it better. It was like, we were watching that Whitney Houston documentary last night, and like, I wonder how Dolly Parton feels about what Whitney Houston did to,
I feel like she must love it. You have to.
Yeah.
If Whitney Houston sang anything that I'd ever been close to, I'd love it. I'd brag about it for the rest of my life.
You have to. Okay, well, man, sorry about that tangent. Ketchup or mustard? Back to the usual boring.
Ketchup or mustard?
Yeah.
I'm a Chicago gal. I got to say mustard.
Oh yeah, okay, spicy mustard then, huh?
Mm-hmm. I just find I use it, even if it's like, if I ever use ketchup, I'm mixing mustard in.
Okay, I've been using it a lot more in cooking. Like I made a meatloaf, not to brag, in like a glaze or something.
It's great. And when it's like, you'll never use ketchup in cooking. And if you are, you're not making food for me.
You should be disowned by any Italian relative.
Yes.
That you have. Well, this was so fun, Cecily. I can't thank you enough for this book. And we're going to encourage people to, again, I'm Bob Wiley with Baby Steps. It's the horse sense.
And I'm
of the guy.
Siggy.
Yeah. You are Siggy. That's funny. It's really beautiful, really honest, and I just thank you for sharing your experience.
Thank you, and thank you for reading it and having me on.
I'm so glad. I've been a fan of yours for a while, and so I'm glad.
Likewise, I feel like we've always gotten along too.
We have, yeah. I think we have. I can't wait to.
You got a good spirit to you, kid. Yeah.
Likewise, pal. Yeah, truly, this has been really fun.
Two bad boys.
That's right. I'm the bad boy of.
We're just a couple of bad boys. Yeah.
Bad boys of conversation. Well, thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
See you, Cecily.